are Bella Sankey, who sits for Labour on Brighton and Hove City Council, and Claire Nelson, a Conservative councillor from Sevenoaks. And remember, it's your programme too, so tell us what you think or send us your ideas to politicssoutheast@bbc.co.uk. Let's start, though, with Lord of the Bins, the Brighton-based rubbish collection firm who've been told to dump their name by the Lord of the Rings franchise. Middle-earth Enterprises have sent them a cease and desist letter for mimicking their name and logo. Well, I spoke to the Lords of the Bins, Dan and Nick, before our other guests arrived today. Here's what they had to say about how they chose their name.
So the name was a combined effort really from family, friends and myself and Dan, as well as the One Ring to Remove It All slogan. So it's kind of all of us got involved and it was really good fun really coming up with the name.
Yeah, because it's the slogan as well as the name, isn't it? One ring to remove it all. Ring,
that's right.
Telephone,
yeah,
or the ring.
Yeah, it's not the ring that bears flesh, it's to call us really.
Yeah.
But I think that might be one of the areas that's got us into a bit of hot water really.
Yeah, and the branding too, Dan, it's got the kind of Lord of the Rings look to it, hasn't it?
When we sort of come up with the name and then to build the brand, we chose that font. We know it's not the same, it's a bit similar, so we didn't, you know, it's our first business we've owned. We didn't think we was treading on anyone's toes.
You know, ideally as a small business we get in a consultant for £1,000 a day or something to come and critique our branding and our name and give us advice. You know, at the time that was better spent on operational costs. We think there's enough uniqueness in our brand to be judged on our own creative merit really. I think the One Ring to Remove It All and the Lord of the Bins, we've had so much great feedback from members of the public, Tolkien fans that think that we're paying homage to the creative king. So, you know, we like it.
But Middle-earth Enterprises don't. They sent you this letter, which is quite a hefty letter, and quite serious as well. How did you feel when you opened that?
Well, to be honest, when I first read it, I didn't know if it was a joke or a wind-up, or because Nick sent it to me. He was up before me. He sent it to me. Yeah, we didn't. Then we read through it and realised, these guys are really gunning for us. And then sort of a bit of panic kicks in, and you know, we don't really know what to do from there. So then that's when we sort of seeked legal advice. Went and spoke to a solicitor, and then he pretty much said that we're going to have to rebrand. We can't take these guys to court because they've got very deep pockets. So that's really when the panic kicked in, that we're going to have to sort of change all the hard work we've put in, sacrifice time with family, money we've spent, just all to be sort of swiped from underneath our feet, you know?
Yeah, and it must have been quite frightening.
Really, it was, yeah.
You know,
like that.
They send the letter at 10:30 in the evening for a reason. So it's the last thing you see before you go to bed or first thing you see in the morning. And I think these sort of letters are becoming common ground. We've had hundreds of people get in contact with us, 3 specifically that have received these letters from Middle-earth Enterprises in the last month. And what I see it as is big corporations looking at stifling the creativity of smaller corporations. And our case specifically might be a lot closer to the edge than a lot of the people out there that are just being stifled because of a brand name too similar to a big corporation. And I think we are opening a wider conversation of where is the support for smaller businesses. You can't fight them in court, they've got too much money.
And it has had a huge reaction online, hasn't it? I mean, you've gone viral, haven't you?
It's been mega. It's been really overwhelming, the amount of sort of supportive messages we've had. It's been really heartwarming, and like I said, we're quite blown away by it, to be honest with you.
I think what rings true with people is that, you know, we are a really small business. Our intentions was to make people smile and laugh, as well as provide a great service along the way. You know, we've come out of a global pandemic and recession, and you know, this stifling of small businesses, you know, doesn't help anybody. We all want the same kind of opportunity to go on and succeed in life.
So what will you do now? I mean, are you going to change the name?
We'd like to keep the name. We definitely would like to keep the name. We've built up a really good customer base. It's not just purely based on the name, it's because of the great work that we do in Brighton and Hove. But you know, that's part of our identity as a business, and we do want to keep that. We've sought legal advice, and we've also got loads of people that have contacted us with support and free legal advice and free representation, things like that. So we'd like to mediate with Middle-earth Enterprises. the ideal scenario would be sit at a table and say which parts are you most concerned about, which are we prepared to give up. But, you know, we appreciate that in normal scenarios it's not really what happens. It's the angry letter and then the threat of your business being taken away, and you choose to fight or throw the towel in.
So the story's not over yet. Has it ruined Lord of the Rings for you, Dan?
I haven't actually watched Lord of the Rings. So it's something I've always wanted to watch. I've just never had the time with family life and work and the rest of it.
So you won't be watching it now, then?
No.
I've watched all of the films. I was personally inspired by Tolkien when I read the book in year 6, like 11 or something like that. And you know, I felt like it inspired me into a world of creativity, and then it feels a bit weird that that's then coming round full circle to try and stamp it out. But you know, we've had loads of people contact saying they're huge Tolkien fans and they love the small bit of homage that we paid to him within our branding. You know, it's not exactly the same. We should be judged on our own merits, but yeah. All
right. Well, Dan and Nick, thank you so much for coming in, and best of luck with it.
Yeah, thank you, Charlotte.
Well, that was Dan and Nick speaking to me earlier. I should say that we have reached out to Middle-earth Enterprises, but they haven't got back to us yet. Let's bring in our politicians and have a chat about this. Claire, whose side are you on in this?
Oh, it's got to be the small business. I think it's fantastic. No one's going to expect Frodo or a Hobbit to come round and collect their bins. I think this is a small business trying to stand out from the competition, and fair play to them. And they're being looked upon by a huge corporation as just a small fish that they can bully into submission. So I hope that they succeed. I hope they get to keep the name. I think it's great.
But it is quite close to the Lord of the Rings branding, isn't it? When you look at it, Bella, I mean, they must have known what they were doing.
Look, this is a small creative business that have really harnessed their creativity and they've got a really good sense of humour. And, you know, Middle-earth Enterprises needs to have a sense of humour here and a bit of proportionality. There's absolutely no threat to their brand. People know that they're not actually associated with Lord of the Bins. And, you know, this company is like so many in Brighton and Hove. Small, enterprising, resourceful, doing the best they can in an increasingly difficult climate. And at the moment, we should be supporting our small businesses and helping them succeed in this cost of living crisis, not using the law to come down on them like this.
And I suppose that's an interesting point, isn't it, Claire? Do you think there is a problem here with the balance of power and the kind of the influence, the money in the legal system, the money that these companies have access to?
I think there is, and it's always been the way. If you have very, very deep pockets, then you can afford the best legal representation, and you can have lawyers send out very scary letters at 10:30 in the evening and then switch their phones off. And I think that that's wrong, and especially when the company involved is a small company, so they're not going to have that kind of level of representation available to them unless they pay extremely large amounts of money. So I think that there's something to look at in the legal system as to how much you can actually spend on these kind of cases.
What do you think, Bella?
I mean, I think it is a problem, this inequity, and when people have a huge amount of money and they're prepared to act in this way, you know, all sorts of unfairness results. Just recently, we saw the former Conservative chairman, Nadhim Zahawi, actually threatening people, journalists and tax experts, in a really similar fashion, sending threatening legal letters because they were uncovering the truth as it happened.